Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Welcome to Share Talk, where it's CEO interview time with Gervaise Heddle, the Chief Executive Officer at Greatland Gold. How are you today, Gervaise?
Very well, Zach. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Right, I think the first time I met you, I pointed out that you had lots of different projects, a handful at least of projects, and I think my tone was that even if one or two of them come off, you'd be a happy man. But that was my very basic fundamental analysis. Things that seem to have moved on in the last couple of years.
Yes, no, definitely. I think we spoke about a year ago, and I think, we were, things were moving well then, but certainly, everything's moved up a gear now this year. In the last 6 months, it really has been a transformational period for us, and with very significant early stage exploration success at Havieron, obviously with a couple of, very good drill holes there. And then also at Black Hills, which is something we're very excited about, finding, visible gold there across a couple of 100 metres of strike, which suggests we could have sort of a very high grade near surface mineralised system there.
Right. Today was officially, your business and operational update. A lot of information there. The focus is on Havieron and Black Hills. What within that should investors be looking at, do you think?
Within Havieron, I think investors need to step back and have a look at the big picture on that. It's, it has the potential to be a very large system. And when we first acquired this, what attracted us to it was that there was this sort of 1 kilometre by 1 kilometre coincident magnetic and gravity anomaly. And Newcrest had done 6 holes into it and had found copper and gold mineralisation. Now, there was no high-grade copper or gold mineralisation, but we looked at that and we thought, wow, this, 1 kilometre by 1 kilometre anomaly, that's a big target. And then we, earlier this year, we had some forward modelling done by an independent consultant, and they came back with some numbers saying, let's think, again, be a very large system, I can't remember exactly, I think it was like 500 metres by 500 metres by 600 metres deep. And so you're looking at some very big potential tonnage there, but of course, when we embarked on the drilling, the key question is, well, really, are we going to find grade? So we were delighted when we saw, that first interval come through, which contained, I think it was like 11.5 metres at 21 grams per tonne and the bonanza grades. So, the key with Havieron moving forward with these next 10 drill holes that we intend to do starting in September is we need to test the direction and the extent of that high-grade mineralised zone and really determine just how big it is. Hopefully we will start to do that in this next round of drilling.
Right, and then in Black Hills, I'm enticed by the multiple gold nuggets that appear to exist there. Is it as good as it sounds?
Yes, I believe it is. It's funny, just before I did this call, I actually spoke to Callum. He's out in the field at Black Hills at the moment, so he's gone up just to do his own reconnaissance and get a sense for the project before the 3DIP crew arrive. And he's very enthused from what he's seeing as well. I think this has, real potential, to be, it's a very attractive opportunity for us because you've got high grade gold at surface. If we can use the 3DIP to track out that trend of mineralisation below surface, it becomes a fairly low risk drill campaign. Plus, because we're doing, we'll be drilling it with RC. It becomes, it's a relatively low cost process for us as well, hopefully to, drill that out. And so it's a great opportunity for a company of our size, and that's why we, acquired it in the first place.
Right, and just going on to Ernest Giles with a mini tour of your assets. The situation there is that we're expecting completion of a major drilling program there, which started in June. That would be in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right. So within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll have to wait for results. We have to truck all these bags of rock chips back to Perth. They have to all go through the labs, and then we'll get the results. So, obviously looking forward to, to seeing what's there, and then thinking about what next steps at Ernest Giles.
Right, and I suppose something which investors are always looking at, the cash position, unaudited at $3.5 million with no debt. So you're feeling flush at the moment.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've got over £3.5 million in cash, and that's more than enough to fund us for the next 12 months. So we're in a great position. It's great to have great projects and the funding to do something about them.
Right, and speaking about that, I mean, you've said in your as far as your corporate strategy for next year is concerned, you'll continue to assess a range of new opportunities. Haven't you got enough on your plate at the moment? Could that be asked, that question?
I think it's a good question. Look, I think a lot of companies in our position will say, "Oh, we've got enough on our plate," but I've always thought of Greatland more as a portfolio, and maybe that goes back to my background being a portfolio manager, when I was with Merrill Lynch, but I always think with this sort of business, you want to be, in order to maximise the returns, you want to be not only driving forward on the projects where you're getting good results, obviously, Havieron and Black Hills, but also looking at new opportunities. If you can pick up a really highly prospective opportunity cheap, and which you think you can quickly add value to, then that's a great thing to be doing. And likewise, you've got some projects that at some point you may need to cut. Now, we haven't sort of made any decisions to cut anything at this point. We're reviewing, our geological sort of assumptions on a couple of things, but, we always want to be churning and trying to take everything up a level, basically. And it's a bit like organisations when they cut out sort of the 10% worst people every year and try and bring in new people and all this sort of stuff, which I know some of the investment banks do. It's about sort of continually trying to upgrade, your portfolio of assets.
Presumably, if the wider or the bigger your portfolio is, the less risk you have in terms of having all your eggs in one basket or disappointing the market when something may goes awry, which obviously in the mining area can and does happen.
Well, that's right. And sometimes you just get caught you've got logistical risk as well. You're hoping to do some drilling, and then for whatever reason, there's rains and the roads are flooded out and you can't drill at a certain period of time. So it's great to be able to back up and be able to do something else at that time and have the flexibility as well. But yes, I would hope that, over time we're de-risking the company. Look, if one of these projects is outstandingly successful, then that will become the focus of investors' attention. That pretty much becomes the company. That sort of tends to happen with these exploration and development companies. But look, we're very pleased with where we're at the moment, and we're going to keep pushing forward with our strategy.
And is there anything you think is big enough within the company that could be floated off separately to extract shareholder value at some point down the line?
Oh, yes. Look, I think it's a little bit early on some of these things to be maybe saying that, but I would think that, because I look at the Patterson project, which contains both Havieron and Black Hills now, I would think that would be a great project as it stands now. If I held that privately, it would be a great project for an ASX IPO. Similarly, I think our Tasmanian projects, that always potentially could be spun out, or an IPO in their own regards. And Ernest Giles, it's this vast greenstone belt. So, I feel we could probably break at some point, maybe in a better gold price environment, break Greatland up into a few different companies. But look, for now, we're just going to keep pressing on with what we've got. We're so busy just with planning field work and logistics all around that I think that's enough to be getting on with for the next few weeks anyway.
Gervaise Heddle, CEO at Greatland Gold, thank you very much indeed for talking to Show Talk today.
Thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.